Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, he's really getting pissed off and tired of these people who keep trying him when it comes to crime in Chicago and how they have been successful at lowering crime. And when I say he went off last week on some folks, he went off, and you know what? He should have.
Okay, let me just start with this. How about this? In 1974, there were 970 murders. Okay, 1995. There were 828 murders. 2016, 778 murders. 2021, 805 murders. This has been a problem in this city for a very long time. Now, my deputy mayor, Gatewood, this is the topic and the work every single day to drive violence down in the city of Chicago. So when you talk about what we're offering a better pathway so that we don't have 970 people murdered in our city every single year. Now, one is one too many, but you're not going to convince me that the people of Chicago only deserve law enforcement. I get so sick and tired of people believing that the only thing that black and brown and poor people get to get in this city are badges. People want jobs. It's why we've increased the ability for young people to have jobs in this city. People want health care and behavioral and mental health care. That's what they asked me. That's why we've expanded it. People want to be able to afford to live in this city. That's why I'm building more affordable units. People want justice if they do get wrapped up into this spiral of despair in this city. It's why we're actually solving cases, whether it's CVI workers, making sure that we're avoiding retaliation in this city. I get so sick and tired of people in this country and in this city that believes that the only thing that you can offer black people and poor people is jails, incarceration, and police officers. Dr. King said this right here in Chicago, the National Conference on New Politics. What did he say? He said, militarism is a sickness. I am trying to eradicate the sickness from this city and from this country.
But people
to offer, no, listen, Mark, I get to answer my question now. You've asked it.
But people,
Mark. No, Mark, I'm answering my questions. Of course they are, but you're not going to be able to avoid that if we don't do the things that actually work. We are not split on this issue. The fact of the matter is, no one has asked me to send federal troops into this city to make it safe. It has never come up. It never came up during the campaign. It's never come up in the first 2 years. The fact of the matter is, we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities. I'm going to work hard every single day to protect the people who are caught up in violence in this city. Guess why? You want to know why? Because the vast majority of them look like me. This president has never asked a very simple question to me, Brandon Scott, Barbara Lee, Randall Woodfin. He doesn't talk to black mayors about what it's like to live in communities that have been disinvested in. So no, we're not going to succumb to the sickness and the evil that Dr. King warned us about a generation ago. It didn't work in 74 when 970 people were being killed. It didn't work in the 90s when no one said a mumbling word about how many people were losing their lives because of violence in this city. And now we're actually doing the work that's working. Now all of a sudden everybody has these ideas. They've shown this is a group project, but we're not going to allow the President of the United States of America or any of his ilk look at the work that we're doing across this country, and then now we're experiencing some level of reprieve, and now he wants to put his name on our paper. No, I'm not going to tolerate it. It's a sickness, and we're going to eradicate it.
This is the response that we should be seeing. And I'm with Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. When you have done the work, when you have put in the long work, he was being ripped his first 2 years for the crime and other problems. And so all of a sudden it's going down. Same, he mentioned Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott. He mentioned these other black mayors. And they have been taking the heat from people in the city, from people outside. And that's exactly the response that he should be given. And so the reality, Michael, when these reporters ask these questions, I ain't got no problem with him going off on them, because what they're doing is working, and to act like it's not is also a shame, because if you're going to criticize somebody when things are bad, well, you damn well better give them the credit when things are getting better.
Absolutely. Give them the credit when things are getting better, and advocate for them to have more resources to continue to improve people's lives, bring down crime. Okay. And I applaud him for what he just said. Also, I encourage people to look at his press conference from September 2nd, 2025, because he talked about how also the Trump administration, the president's budget bill, the big ass ugly bill, cut $468 million from alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, ATF. And we know the ATF was working along with local law enforcement there in Chicago to track down illegal guns. And one of the things Mayor Brandon Johnson talked about is how the Chicago Police Department has taken 24,000 guns off of the street since he took office. And he says 60% of those guns recovered came from outside of Illinois, many of them from red states, Mississippi, Indiana, other states like that. So one of the things that happens, and I know you talked about it here on this show, Roland, you have lax laws and lax gun laws in red states, and illegal guns flow into Illinois, flow into Chicago, and then Chicago gets the blame for it. So he's done a magnificent job. Yes, there's still work to do, but how the Trump administration and many white people see us, and some of them are on MSNBC, they only see us as needed to be policed as opposed to invested in and protected. So he needs to keep it up, and he needs more help.
Drew?
I think one of the things I was thinking about, Mayor Brandon said it so wonderfully. I've always wanted to figure out, how do you say this? But he said that Black and brown people, or this administration or others, feel like Black and brown people only deserve badges. And when you look at, I think you said the big ugly bill, or whatever we're calling it, I don't even know why we're trying to rename it. This particular bill has cut community block grants. What are community block grants? What are they used? The community development block grants. They are used to create affordable housing. They're used to be able to build community infrastructure. They're used for public services like job training and youth job training. They're used for neighborhood revitalization. All the things that Mayor Brandon is talking about, and all of the mayors around this country, that is what is needed, providing the services to help lift the communities out of poverty. I remember way back growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, when we used to have the youth job training program. Every year, there was something for the youth to do in the summer to get a skill, to earn money, and to stay off the street. At the end of the day, these mayors are working with the resources that they have, and instead of this convicted felon that's in the White House coming and saying, hey, let's do more to make the communities safe by providing opportunities, they feel like sending badges and sending military in order to be able to impact and really continue to demolish the communities that we have. So I applaud him for being able to stand up and speak truth to power. All of these cities, what they need are resources in order to support those who are in need.
Listen, it makes all the sense to me, Matt, and I just think that this is how you just have to react. I think, listen, you cannot kowtow, you cannot bow down, you cannot bend, and when you are doing the work, hey man, talk your shit.
Women lie, numbers don't lie, and I think data is the way to approach it, because I think when you come out and you delineate exactly what those numbers were, that dispels any myths. And we've talked about this on this show many, many times. But here's the thing. Part of this Republican playbook right now is a disregard for the truth, because the truth doesn't matter if all you're trying to advance is your narrative. So the only way to push back against that is to say, here's what's actually happening. Here's why what they're feeding you is garbage. And here's why what we're doing is working. And I'm glad that he took this stance. But another thing I'm very glad about is I'm glad that he is passionate, because I think it's important A lot of times, Black people in elevated spaces can be concerned about looking too passionate because of all the unwritten rules and microaggressions and BS that we have to deal with. And I like that he was unbridled. And he said, no, you asked me a question, I'm finna answer it. I think that's important because I think what we're seeing is patent dishonesty. And I think we're seeing, an administration, the Trump administration, and Republicans around the country who are echoing the same kind of sentiments, who are just saying things that are patently false and easily disproven. And I'm glad that he stood on business, so to speak, as it relates to the numbers and how the trend is going down. And I think it's really important because we saw that same thing in D.C., right? I mean, you just point and say crime's running rampant here, but the data shows that that's not actually the case. And I think there needs to be a continued onslaught of you are lying, and here's how I can show that you're lying.
Yeah, and you got to actually say, you lying. Stop lying.
Yeah.
To me, I don't think you can dance around this thing. You can just sort of, use others certain. No. You got to call this thing what it is. And that, to me, is just how I see it. And I just think too many people are not trying to do that. All right, y'all.
Hello. I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.